I'd say just really enjoying it. For my time in the W for the last 6 years, I've had a lot of PD responsibilities, and then I'd say in the last 3 or 4 seasons, a lot of advanced scouting stuff. And then even with the Mystics, the last 2 years, terminology, teaching concepts, things like that. And so this is kind of a combination of all that. And, being, I guess, in the lead seat for the first time, I'm really enjoying it. Just super fortunate for the opportunity.
What have you learned about yourself so far?
That's a great question. I think I need to show more personality, actually. Because I think the first week, I was so focused on teaching and putting stuff in, and I was like, I didn't even get a chance to really connect and meet with the players yet. And so, to me, that's the fun in coaching is the relationship piece. And so, obviously as time goes on, those relationships will form, and so that's kind of a focal point for the next few weeks.
Natalie?
It's kind of crazy because do you mind if I talk about the graphic you had up yesterday?
Go ahead, yeah.
So there's he had a graphic up yesterday, and there's 1,500 something games between the people who are here that have been playing in the WNBA, and out of the group in ours we have 350 more just in our group than anybody else. So I think it's testament to that too. I think a lot of the women that I get to go to work with every day have been in so many different environments, so many different experiences, whether it's WNBA, overseas, national team, anywhere. And so when you have that environment in this, that type of locker room in this environment, it becomes easier. It's easier to adjust because everybody's had to at some point in their career. So I think for us, from day one, we were listen, we're going to compete at a high level. We're going to enjoy playing with each other and just go out there hooping and trying to win every possession. Because we've done it our whole careers. So I think that, along with Kate has her 44 games too. But then you look at everybody else, it's really cool. It's a really cool dynamic because everybody's on their own journey. But I think together, we understand what this is, especially being inaugural season. Everybody's giving of themselves, and it just works that way. It's pretty organic. So I think it's just been a lot of fun just kind of figuring it out. And like I said, based on our experiences, I think we've just kind of figured it out a little bit quicker than other teams, for sure.
Annie?
Coming into this, there's been so much talk of this summer camp vibe and
Mm-hmm.
the fun you guys are all having today, but I'm curious if there's a new reality that you feel sets in once the competition gets underway.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're still in pleasantries mode.
Oh, no. It's competitive. And I think our league, the WNBA, is already competitive.
Yeah.
So it's kind of even a more locked-in version of that because there's only 36 of us here, give or take. So I think that there's still internal rivalries, whether it's from teams or from individual aspect. And we're all competitors. Like I said, there's only 144 of us anyway to begin with. So now you even make that smaller, so it's even more competitive. And you only put 3 of us out there at a time. And it's really cool. And I said this before. It's the purest form of basketball. And that's really what we're built off as a league already. And we're competitive on top of that. So it's just a lot of fun to be able to go out there and play to our skill sets.
Just to follow up on that, so when you're in this tight-knit environment, how are you guys bouncing back and forth between that competitive mindset, but then you're all going back and staying in the same place?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the W, that competitive energy, you get to leave the building and kind of carry it and even have it into the next game. Do you wash it, or do you still have that competitive energy?
I don't think the competitive energy ever turns off, but you just understand, we're basketball players, but we're also people first. And I think this gives us a chance to honestly build on relationships that maybe we wouldn't have before. I think I saw an interview of Court, I wouldn't have been in a locker room with Alyssa Thomas as much as I am, or Steph, or people that you've just admired, or that were maybe you got drafted with that just went off into a different place. And then also being able to compete and be in the weight room. And it's just a chance to also, learn from other great players because this is a really, really interesting pool of players and very talented pool of players. And so just being in the locker room and being in the weight room or the training room and just being able to have, those small conversations, especially for me as a vet, it's something that you kind of hold on to because you go through this whole experience, and you're on this path, your own path, and you're in your own locker room. But then when you're able to kind of deviate, I think it helps to build relationships, but also character too, you know, because we're all in this together, like as women's basketball players, and we understand that too. I think better than most leagues in the world. So I think that comes into play. But I mean, like I said, I don't think the competitive energy ever turns off.
Erica and then Ben.
Coach, I actually wanted to come to you. Kayla gave us a little insight to some of the things that you and the coaching staff are doing to perhaps accelerate a process for your team. Can you just elaborate on that and maybe some other things that your coaching staff, you and the staff felt was important to do when the players arrived so that you'd be ready for game one?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think honestly it's a compliment to just the high level of IQ we have on this roster. And so, myself and the staff came into day one of training camp feeling comfortable, implementing terminology, defensive coverages. We've got a good chunk of the playbook in already. And so all that stuff is, again, just a compliment to the high level of IQ. I'm able to teach a concept and they can pick it up super quickly. The other piece of that too, right, is like I'm taking them through a drill or a scout, and they're on the side already talking about coverages. Oh, this is if this is SAB and SAT2 in a screen, this is what we're going to do. Things like that. And so they're just thinking so far ahead of what I think maybe other teams are thinking about. And so it allows us as a coaching staff to just have the freedom to implement and test things out.
Okay, last one from Ben.
Talking about the energy in the vibe, was it kind of funny that, the last competitive basketball game you played was against Sabrina, this one was against Sabrina, we saw Stewie beat last night, funny, weird, like...
I'm not gonna lie and say that didn't cross my mind. Just as a competitor, of course, it's still heartbreaking to talk about, but we're here now, and for sure. I mean, like I said, the competitive energy never turns off. We're too small of a league for it to turn off, and just like being an athlete and whatever. But it's a whole new thing, and so yeah. But I'm not gonna say that it didn't cross my mind.
Thank
Just kind of real quick, we talked about the prep, like, heading into this year, the season, what kind of film did you watch? Were you watching all their WNBA tape? Were you watching Viva 3-on-3? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like you guys were incredibly prepared. And
A good bunch of everything, really. Obviously from being in the W for the past 6 years, I just have a ton of just background knowledge on each player's game already. So I think it was more so just connecting with them. We all spoke on the phone prior to getting here, and so that's kind of when the first relationships were formed. Talked about their vision of success, what they wanted out of this experience. And then again, the first week of training camp, we had one-on-one meetings with each player. Again, it kind of touched on that stuff. As far as just film I watched, it was a ton of different stuff. Obviously, the FIBA stuff is a very different game from here. So it's just kind of picking from different leagues, different styles of play.